G'day Mad Dragons fans, I am Johnny Pearl, the Mad Dragon, and it is time to start looking towards the 2022 season. We are on the cusp of finishing off 2021, putting that one far in the rear vision mirror. We don't want to talk about that anymore. It's all about looking forward to a fantastic 2022. For this video, you might want to have your pen and paper ready, get your calendar ready. You're going to have to lock in some dates, because what I'm doing today is I'm having a detailed analysis of the Dragons draw across all grades for the 2022 season. All the draws are out. Let's have a look at it. Let's plan our year out around the mighty St George Illawarra Dragons. Going to kick it off by talking about the NRL side. Now, in terms of turnarounds, so we'll look at turnarounds first of all. So one of the big talking points every year is around 5-day turnarounds. No one wants a 5-day turnaround. It makes things very, very difficult for your rugby league team. The Dragons, we cannot complain at all heading into this season. We have exactly 0 Bubka's donut. No 5-day turnarounds at all during the 2022 season. We have 10 6-day turnarounds, 5 7-day turnarounds, and what I think is quite generous, we have 8 times during the year where we have more than 7 days as a turnaround time. Obviously buys and different things like that factor into that, but also there's a big break between our last match and then the Anzac Day clash, for instance. So there's a few of them that pop up, and the Dragons are the beneficiaries of a few of them. In terms of our worst period in regards to turnaround times, there's a couple. So rounds 1 to 3, we actually start off with back-to-back 6-day turnarounds, which, you're nice and fresh. You actually want to be playing a bit of footy in the early part of the season. We as fans, we certainly want to be seeing them as often as possible. So having a few 6-day turnarounds at the start of the season, not too bad. We've also got the same thing happens between rounds 17 and 19. On both occasions, one of the short turnarounds is actually after an interstate trip as well, so that makes it a little bit tougher. We also have a 7-day turnaround before a game in Melbourne, followed by a 6-day turnaround before heading to the following game, which is in Brisbane. So we go from Melbourne to Brisbane on a fairly short turnaround. I wouldn't be too concerned about it though. That's between rounds 8 and 10, around that sort of magic round period. The best period that the Dragons have is between rounds 11 and 16. So a pretty big period, and during that period there's a lot of fairly long breaks where we can actually rest up the bodies and get ourselves right to surge towards the finals, hopefully towards the back end of the season. So after the Warriors game in round 11, we have an 8-day turnaround followed by 12 days off. Then a quick one, a 6-day turnaround, but then another 17 days off before we play the Raiders at home in Wollongong. So I think overall, in terms of the amount of space between games, we've been fairly well looked after by the NRL heading into the 2022 season. Now in terms of travel, well, let's have a look at travel. There's a couple of actually really good periods for the Dragons travel wise, and the first one from rounds 2 to 8. We don't leave New South Wales. It's a really good period of time for the Mighty Saints. They're in Cogra, Wollongong, and then at Combank Stadium, then Accor, which I think is the new Sydney Football Stadium. Another game in Wollongong, then the SCG and Wollongong again. So in terms of travel during that period, we don't do a great deal. We pretty much stick to our home base. So rounds 2 to 8. It should be a nice period for everyone to be with their families and not have to worry too much about living out of a suitcase. So that'll be a good little period for the Dragons. Our toughest schedule of the year is actually between rounds 9 and 14. So straight after that nice little period where we're at home, we hit the road, and we're on the road for a fair bit. So between rounds 9 and 14, we've got games in Melbourne, Brisbane and Townsville during that little stretch. So that'll be one period where we're away from home a little bit, and we'll have to cope with that, get around the boys and help to get them home. But we then finish with a really good period as well. So rounds 18 to 24. Once again, the Dragons, the only time they leave New South Wales is basically a local derby for our Wollongong residents down in Canberra. So that's another really nice period. So if we have a look at that one, we've got a game at the SCG against the Roosters, and then back-to-back games at Cogra before Shark Park, local derby against the Cronulla Sharks, and then take on the Canberra Raiders down in Canberra, and then back in Wollongong against the Titans before going to the fantastic venue that is CommBank Stadium, and we finish off the season against the Broncos at Cogra. Once again, in terms of travel, I think we've been fairly well looked after. I think most of the New South Wales / Sydney based teams, they tend to be in a pretty good spot in terms of not having to travel too much. It's those interstate teams that have to travel a little bit more frequently. So I think we've done pretty well travel wise. In terms of our opponents, now our toughest run is actually probably during a period where travel-wise we don't have to leave too often, so we can stay in Sydney and really focus on trying to get wins during this period. But at rounds 2 to 7, it's not going to be easy. We take on the Panthers, the Sharks, the Eels, Souths, Knights and Roosters. Now, according to Sportsbet, all of these teams except the Knights are favoured to finish in the top 8. So they're the 8 favourites for the premiership. So that's a pretty tough run from rounds 2 to 7. It's not too often you look at the round 1 fixture and think round 1 is an absolute must-win game. We take on the New Zealand Warriors on the Sunshine Coast, and I think that is a must-win game for the Dragons. I think the last thing you want to do is be 0-7 after the first 7 rounds. I don't think Hook survives that, quite honestly. I think the Dragons fans will be baying for blood if that is the case. But with the run that we've got, it is a strong possibility if we don't start the season running. So we've got to really hit the ground running and play well right from the outset, because we've got some really tough games during that early part of the season. So if we can jag a few, if we can get through the first 7 rounds and be 4-3 or even 3-4, I think we're looking all right. But if we're 0-7 or 1-6 after 7 rounds, then all of a sudden we're playing catch up to try and make finals. We can catch up a bit of space though, not too long after that period, or between rounds 10 and 17. We have the Titans, the Warriors, the Dogs, the Cowboys, Souths, the Raiders and the Broncos. So again, there's 2 buys in between there as well, so there can be a lot of focus put on this period where you could theoretically walk away with 7 wins throughout that period. There's only 2 teams in those 7 games that are tipped to make the top 8, and none of them are tipped to make the top 4. So that's our easiest run. So between rounds 10 and 17, we should be celebrating a fair bit, hopefully, if we are good enough, and I think we are. All right, so that's a bit of a look at the NRL draw in isolation. Now's the time that you get your calendar ready. These are the dates that you need to mark down in your calendar if you want to basically model your life around the Dragons, and every weekend is about where are the Dragons playing, what are the Dragons doing, how can I get involved and get down and see not just the NRL side, but our New South Wales Cup side, our Jersey Flegg side, our SG Ball side, our NRLW side, our Harold Matthews side, or our Tarsha Gale Cup side. How can I see them? As many games as possible. Which ones can I go to? This is where you'll find all that information. Let's plan out your rugby league year following the Dragons around, and it kicks off earlier than you think. It's not much more than a month away. The 5th of February is the first date to chuck in your calendar. 3 games. 3 games at the brand new Shark Park with the Dragons and Steelers young stars both featuring. Action kicks off at 10 a.m. with the 3rd game starting at 2 p.m. at the newly refurbished Shark Park. Of course, we've got the Tarsha Gale Cup side, the St George Dragons Tarsha Gale Cup side in action. They won the premiership last year up against the Sharks, and then the SG Ball, the Steelers of course made the grand final last season in the SG Ball competition. They're looking strong again for the upcoming year as well, so a lot of blokes to keep your eye on in this Steelers under 19 side, and the Harold Matthews Illawarra Steelers also up against the Sharks. So that should be 3 very high quality games. The week after that first weekend where we've got 3 games at the newly refurbished Shark Park. A venue that you might want to make yourself familiar with as a Dragons fan in 2022 is the Collegians Sporting Complex. 12th of February, 3 games at Collegians with the Steelers Young Guns against different teams in all 3 grades. They take on the Victorian Thunderbolts in the under-19s SG Ball. They take on the Cronulla Sharks in the Tarsha Cup, which is the under-19s women's contest. And if you went to Shark Park, it'll be nice to be able to compare the Steelers and the Dragons, how they go against the Sharks in these first 2 rounds in the Tarsha Cup competition. And then in the under-17s boys, the Harold's Mats Steelers up against the Central Coast Roosters. Once again, 3 games of rugby league action where you can get along and check out the best young talent that the Illawarra region has to offer. That'll be a fantastic one to get along to. We kick on then to the 26th of February. Now this one might be a pretty familiar date to some Dragons fans out there because it is the date of the Charity Shield. That's when the Dragons take on the Bunnies up in Mudgee. If you don't fancy a trip to Mudgee, you can, of course, head along to Collegians once again for 3 games with the Steelers taking on fellow heavyweight junior catchments in Penrith and Newcastle. 3 games across the day there at Collegians, and you can probably get home in time to watch the Charity Shield on TV after you finish that one. But a little bit of a missed opportunity, I think, in this Charity Shield contest. So in the Laurie Daly Cup and the Andrew Johns Cup, which is under 16s and under 18s competition, the Illawarra South Coast Dragons participate in this competition, as do the Western Rams. The Western Rams, of course, represent the region that Mudgee falls in the Central Tablelands there. And rather than those 2 playing against each other, the Western Rams are playing the Monaro Colts up in Mudgee prior to the Charity Shield. I think that's a little bit of a missed opportunity in terms of the draw. They could have done the draw up a little bit better and had the Western Rams and the Illawarra South Coast Dragons up against each other, and I think that would have excited the crowd a little bit more, particularly the Dragons fans. I don't know whether the Monaro Colts have any sort of association with the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and that may be the reason for it, but certainly from a selfish perspective, I would have preferred to see the Young Dragons taking on the Western Rams prior to the main event there up in Mudgee. So that's the first time that a lot of people will actually get to see the Dragons. They've only announced that 1 trial match so far, because they had 3 trial matches last year prior to the NRL season kicking off, but might be going with a little bit of a lighter approach for the 2022 season. Nothing been announced yet in terms of any other games so far. The 5th of March, once again, head along to Collegians where the SG Ball Steelers have a grand final rematch with the Canberra Raiders. There's a couple of matches on that day. The Harold Matthews Cup also play the Raiders on that day. A little bit of a missed opportunity here. Again, the Dragons NRLW side, they play in Wollongong on Sunday the 6th of March. And I would have thought a Steelers versus Raiders grand final rematch in the under-19s SG Ball in Wollongong would have been a perfect double header in the lead up to the NRLW clash. Instead, they've got 2 other NRLW games on that day prior to the Dragons taking on the Parramatta Eels. So I think they have missed a little bit of a trick there. Certainly, Steelers fans in Wollongong, it's the Steelers team playing at the Gong prior to an NRLW fixture, I think would have been an absolute ripper. Basically, a local derby too against the Raiders, who got the better of them in the under-19s grand final last year. So that's the way that I would have liked to have seen this structured, but they've gone with the triple header NRLW match in Wollongong on the 6th of March, which is another one certainly worth getting along to support our ladies. And then, well, of course, we've got the 12th of March. The 12th of March, everybody, I'm sure you've already got this one marked down in your calendar. This is when the NRL season kicks off for the Dragons, but The NRL side, they'll be up in Queensland on the Sunshine Coast taking on the New Zealand Warriors. So a double header. The New South Wales Cup reserve grade side and the Jersey Flegg under 21s at that venue once again, the Collegiate Sporting Complex. Maybe get along to those two games first. You'll have plenty of time once those two games finish to get home in time to watch the Dragons wipe the floor with the New Zealand Warriors. So the 12th of March, get along to Collegiate, support our lower grades. The following week, the Dragons' first home game is a tough Friday night clash with the defending premiers, the Penrith Panthers. This one is at Cogra. It's the early Friday night game, so 6 o'clock Friday game against the Panthers. Hopefully we can get a big crowd along to cheer the Dragons home and get them over the top of the highly fancy Panthers. A lot of people think that this mob can go back to back. So we're going to have to be at our best if we can beat them. But having the home ground advantage and a big, strong, vocal crowd of Dragons should go a long way to helping. The following day, though, if you can't get along to that 6 p.m. fixture, or even if you can, you might want to head down to see the Dragons playing the Steelers. The Dragons versus the Steelers at Mascot Oval. All three junior representative grades on the same day. So that's going to have everyone down there. I think that's always a key item I like to circle on my calendar, is when the Dragons play the Steelers in junior reps. That's an opportunity to see all our young talent all in the one spot on one day. It's a fantastic one. So if you only get along to one junior rep fixture during the year, I'd circle the Dragons against the Steelers. That'll be an absolute ripper at Mascot Oval. I do think there is a bit of a missed opportunity, though, because the New South Wales Cup side and the Jersey Flegg side, they also play on that same day but at a different venue. Now, I know 5 games on one rugby league field in one day that's a lot of traffic, and so I can understand why they haven't done it. But the idea of having the under-17s, the under-19s, the under-19s women, the under-21s and our New South Wales Cup reserve grade side all playing on the same day at the same venue, all of our young talent in one spot, that has me absolutely salivating. I would love for that to have been what they went for here, and I think that's again an opportunity. That's something that they can really sell to Dragons fans. Come down and see all of your local talent, all of them, Dragons and Steelers, 3 grades, and then Dragons against Penrith in the under-21s and the New South Wales Cup. Just having that much local junior talent in one spot, and you'll see that talent on show, and you'll have players that you write down in your little black book. This is a kid that you want to follow and watch him come up through the grades. There is nothing better than seeing a kid that you've been watching since he was 15, 16 years of age step up through the grades and make it all the way to the top. It's fantastic. I would love to see more Dragons fans get the opportunity to do this, and having all 5 grades at the same venue would be a great way to promote that, I suppose. Right, moving on. Now you look to the 24th to the 27th of March. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Rugby league action every single day of the weekend. NRL game on Thursday night against the Sharks in Wollongong. That'll be a ripper. Local derby. We want to win that one. We want to get beyond the boys. We want to smash the Sharks. That's the one we want to win. Thursday night in the Gong. Friday night, Tasha Gale Cup at Belmore against the Dogs. Then Saturday, there are games at Cogra, Collegians and Mascot, but the highlight across the 3 venues for me is the NRLW and Tasha Gale Cup doubleheader at Cogra. So this is the St George Dragons Tasha Gale Cup side that won the grand final last year. A lot of those players that were in that side that won the grand final, it's a very young side. They've all come back to try and defend their title this season. So the Tasha Gale Cup game will be a ripper. That one followed by the NRLW side in action as well. So there's going to be some absolute crackers up against the Roosters in the NRLW game. So I think there's plenty to look forward to on that weekend. And then on the Sunday, there's a game as well. I don't know whether this one's a misprint, so it's the Dragons up against the Panthers in the SG Ball. The Harold Matthews side also plays at the same venue, both at Mascot Oval on the Saturday. I don't know why they would separate those two, and I don't know why they would be playing on different days, but that's what it says in the draw at the moment. Is that Saturday the Harold Matthews side at Mascot against the Panthers, and then Sunday the Panthers against the Dragons again at Mascot Oval on the Sunday. So there's an opportunity for 4 days of rugby league action. All right, we're moving quickly through the season. The next one to have a bit of a bo peep at is the Eels Extravaganza. Make sure you let all of your Eels mates know about this one. The 2nd and the 3rd of April, we got 6 games of rugby league across 2 days. On the 2nd of April, there is 3 junior rep games at Collegians against the Eels. The Steelers up against the Eels, and then it's followed by another 3 games of senior footy on the 3rd of April at Combank Stadium, the home of the Parramatta Eels. We've got the Jersey Flegg, the New South Wales Cup and the NRL side all taking on the Parramatta Eels on the 3rd of April. This should be a fantastic weekend, and drag your Eels mate along to Collegians to watch those 3 games and rub it in every time we beat them. Hopefully we can get 6 from 6 across the weekend. Wouldn't that be fantastic? We've got the same thing happens again the following weekend, the 8th and 9th of April. It's at North Sydney Oval is the junior reps, so there's 3 games at North Sydney Oval on the 8th of April, followed by another senior triple header in Sydney at a core stadium, which I think is the newly refurbished Sydney Football Stadium. So that one's back up and running against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So again, plenty to look forward to across those 2 weekends. The 17th of April, and this is going to be something that comes up a few times throughout the rest of this video. 17th of April is a home double header with the New South Wales Cup side up against the Blacktown Workers Sea Eagles and the NRL side up against Newcastle in Wollongong. My big gripe with this is the Jersey Flegg side is also playing on the 17th of April against the Manly Sea Eagles, but it's at a different venue. Why not play all 3 grades at the same venue? Now, I know this is an issue with the council. They don't want to see 3 games of footy on the same venue, but why not? What the hell is the difference? What difference is one more game really going to make to the quality of the ground? I think this is something that needs to happen. It is something that Peter V'landys has said he wants to happen. So make it happen, Peter. Fair income, we want 3 games at the same venue. Dragons fans want to get along and they want to see all 3 grades. They don't want to just see the New South Wales Cup and the NRL side. They want to see the under-21s Jersey Flegg side as well. Make it happen. I don't know why it's not. We move from there into the big occasion. We've got the Anzac Day build-up. It's not just Anzac Day. We've got a build-up towards Anzac Day. 23rd to the 25th of April. The 23rd, we'll see the Jersey Flegg side play the Roosters at Eames Park. Anzac Day Eve, we head to North Sydney Oval, where the New South Wales Cup side up against the North Sydney Bears. And then, of course, the magnificent occasion that is Anzac Day when the Dragons take on the Roosters at the SCG. Always a highlight in the calendar, always one that you've got circled very early on. I think there is a little bit of a missed opportunity. I don't know why they wouldn't just play a double header at North Sydney Oval on Anzac Day Eve. We could make that a regular occurrence. That's a marketing goldmine. You can get down to see the under-21s and the reserve grade side, both against the Roosters, lower grades teams, Dragons versus Roosters, leading up to this Anzac Day clash. I think there's a real opportunity that's been missed there. 1st of May, again, a home double header. With the New South Wales Cup side up against the Magpies and the NRL side up against the the West Tigers, so basically playing both the Tigers teams. Again, the disappointing thing is the Jersey Flegg side playing on the same day at a different venue. Why the hell is this happening? Why not? Like Tigers fans, they want to see all three grades. Dragons fans want to see all their three grades at the same venue. Make it happen. It can't be that bloody hard. Get in the council's ear, everybody, write to your local member right now and tell them you want to see all three games on the same day at the same bloody venue. Make it happen. Stop being dicks about it. Fair income, this is what it has to go ahead. Has to be three games. I don't understand why it wouldn't be. Because the 7th of May, if you are just an NRL fan, this is an opportunity to go and see the local grades, go and support our lower grades. The 7th of May, the NRL side is out of town, so it gives you a perfect opportunity to once again head along to that venue I told you to make yourself familiar with, Collegian Sporting Complex. Get along there to watch a double header featuring the Jersey Flegg and New South Wales Cup teams both up against the Bulldogs. It'd be a good one to get along to. And 13th to the 15th of May is Magic Round. So there's no other footy on that weekend. Everything else is turned off. It's only NRL on that weekend, and it's all up at Suncorp. If you do get the opportunity to head up to Suncorp, it really is a fantastic event. I got the opportunity to head along last year, and while it wasn't a great occasion for the Dragons, it really did derail our season with the amount of players that got suspended out of that game, and it really didn't help us at all, but it was still a fantastic event to get along to and see all 8 games at the same venue across the course of the weekend. If you can, get along. If not, I guess we're sitting at home watching telly that weekend, not getting along to too much live footy. 21st of May, the following weekend, there is a possibility of a triple header at Cogra. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. But at this stage, the draw does have the Jersey Flegg side playing at To Be Advised on Friday night at midnight. I do expect that's going to change. So I can only assume that they're negotiating with the council at the moment to try and get all 3 games at that ground on the one day. Hopefully they get it across the line. Hopefully this is something that can happen and we can play all 3 games at the same venue at Cogra. Would be fantastic. Wouldn't that be great? I think that would really pack out Cogra if we could make that happen. It'll also be our first New South Wales Cup game that'll be televised on Fox. So, for some people like myself living over here in Western Australia, this may be the first opportunity to actually see our New South Wales Cup team play. It'll be on the 21st of May against the Newcastle Knights. So, look forward to that one as well. We've got a bit of a Belmore bonanza on the 27th and 29th of May, Friday night. Sees the Jersey Flegg side clash with the Bulldogs at Belmore, followed by a Sunday afternoon at the same venue, New South Wales Cup and NRL, both at that same ground. Once again, I don't. All 3 sides are playing at the same venue, but one's doing it on Friday night and the other 2 are doing it on the Sunday. I don't see why they split it across the 2 days. I know I'd head along to the Friday night standalone Jersey Flegg fixture. I don't know how many other people will. I can't imagine that they're going to have too many through the gate for a standalone Jersey Flegg Friday night game. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. But who am I? Right, another perfect opportunity to support the lower grades pops up on the 3rd of June. The NRL team has the bye. So, head along, see the lower grades. It will be a little bit more difficult, though. The lower grades are playing against the Panthers at Bluebet Stadium prior to the Panthers-Bulldogs NRL game. So, a tough one, I suppose, to get along to, but a chance to go and see the 2 games and then alpha the Panthers and the Bulldogs by leaving before the NRL game starts. 11th of June, once again, the NRL team's away. They're up in Townsville. So, why not head along to Collegians and see the New South Wales Cup and Jersey Flegg side do battle with the South Sydney Rabbitohs. 3rd of July is another home doubleheader with New South Wales Cup and NRL up against the Raiders in the Gong. Again, I'll keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. The Jersey Flegg side plays on the same day against the Raiders. So all 3 sides are playing against the Raiders on the same day. but the under-21s is at a different venue. Just play 3 games on the same day at the same venue. That's what the fans want. Make it happen. Right, 6th of August, another date for your calendar, another double header, and this one might be this is one of the only opportunities to see the under-21 side. The Jersey Flegg side takes on the Cronulla Sharks, the NRL side also up against the Cronulla Sharks. This one is an away game at the new Shark Park. The New South Wales Cup side does play on the same day against Newtown at Henson Park. I'd like to see all 3 games at the same venue, but I can understand the Newtown Jets actually want to keep some of their home games. They've got a lot of their own support, and they want to go along to Henson Park to watch this game, but play it on a different day. Why would you not want the Dragons fans to be able to attend? Play the New South Wales Cup game on the Sunday. The following day at Henson Park, you'll get a few Dragons fans that'll come along and watch. But when you're playing it on the same day where you can't go to both, people are going to go and watch the double header at Shark Park rather than going to Henson Park. You're going to actually reduce the amount of people you can get through the gate to watch the game. So I think that's the thing that I would change there if they are so desperate to keep it at Henson Park. Wouldn't it be nice if the Sharks actually took one of their games to Henson Park and play a triple header there? That would, I don't know, maybe the Sharks are jerks. What do I know? Right, getting towards the back end of the season now, and the 21st of August, another home double header with the New South Wales Cup team up against the Mounties, and the NRL team taking on the Titans, this one in Wollongong. The Jersey Flegg side with the bye that round, so no real opportunity for the 3 games on that weekend, but just the double header will be what Dragons fans are used to anyway. You only ever get 2 games, you're never going to get the 3, not at a home game. If you want to see the 3 grades, you have to go to an away game, and that's exactly what happens the following weekend, the 28th of August, CommBank Stadium. It is up against the Magpies / Tigers, all 3 grades at CommBank Stadium. This one is an absolute must for Dragons fans to travel to. It'll be a great venue. You get to see all 3 grades in action across the day, a fantastic opportunity. And then, of course, we finish the regular season on the 3rd of September. Last game of the regular season, Dragons up against the Broncos at Cogra. We've all got to be there. We've all got to be there for that one. That one could be absolutely crucial. We don't know what's going to happen during the course of the season, but if any chance to get along and watch the Dragons up against their old foe, the Broncos, is an occasion to get along to. So let's get behind the Dragons. Of course, I haven't included finals. I don't want to make any assumptions about where we're going to finish and what we're going to do in terms of finals, but you'd expect that the junior reps will feature in finals, so you might have to adjust your calendar somewhat if you want to get along and watch the youngsters, hopefully, going towards premiership glory in either the under-16s, under-19, under-16s, under-17s, 18s, 19s, and of course the under-19s girls as well. So they'll all be right in the frame. It's going to be a fantastic season, Dragons fan. I hope you've got a lot of those dates down in your calendar, and hope you've got your email out and ready to write to your local member and say, we want 3 games on the same day at the same venue. Write to councillors in the St George and Illawarra regions. That's what we want to see happen. Get them to make it happen. Go the Dragons.